1979 Constitution, right, was a military version of what we should be guided by as a people. And that Constitution gives way ultimately to the 1999 Constitution, another military constitution. And so
there was the 89 Constitution, but it didn't actually take effect.
The 99 Constitution is the central thing now. Now, when you think in terms of the constitutionalism and the constitutional process, there is so much attention that is given to the substance, that is what you say about it contains, because it's the document that contains these rules and practices. But even much more attention is given to process. The legitimacy of the state is often dependent on the process that emerges, the strictures and the structures and the processes and the procedures of the state. When you look at the constitutional processes, you would find that there's an alienation of the larger bulk of the Nigerian people for whom the Constitution should be the practice of life as citizens.
But is it going to make any difference if you change the current one? I mean, a lot of people will still remain,
so
alienated from it, given the fact that there's poverty, crushing poverty, there's illiteracy.
I think you're missing
and those are elements that would bring them closer to the concept of a constitution.
But you're missing a step there. So why is it that those who argue on the necessity for this country to have a conversation that is people-centered and which then leads to agreements on what really are shared values? People who are arguing for that are people who are sensibly looking at what has happened to our society. One critical factor that enables development is what we call social capital, social cohesion. We lack it. It's depleted. You can't do much in rallying your people toward development without that. Another thing that's important is your shared values. People constantly say, because they have heard people say it, so they say it's institutions that matter, not the human beings. Oh, that's a very sound word.
But but the institutions are made up of human beings.
Don't conflate.
Right.
Okay? So we do know that the simple definition of institution is the way a people do their things. Have we agreed how we do our things in Nigeria in ways that really bind us to certain sets of shared values that if anyone negated it, it wouldn't matter who they are. And then the matter of, hey, we've got different definitions. I am a woman, Christian, Igbo, just name all kinds of other affinities that I have. Yet, I am Nigerian. So being able to come to the place where a set of things enable us define that common identity. Now, you know what all of that is? That's part of the process, because the process of constitution making is to enable the citizen look at the document and see themselves in it. And that sense of, ownership of how the state operates and how the people relate and interact and how the institutions and the systems work. That ownership is the most significant thing that begins to move people from country to nation. Now, nation formations are very important ingredients that succeed in determining the level of aspiration that the people have. Today's Nigeria, what would you say is our aspiration? If you asked a Nigerian and you said to them, why does Nigeria exist? Do you think we have had that conversation? We haven't. So what has happened is that even the constitutional process has always been the pastime of the, in quote, the political elite of our society. So you've got a very insignificant percentage of Nigerians who have their Rolodex of names. And those names can come together at any point in time and be chosen as the wise and often wise men, who then decide what should be in the Constitution. When you have that, especially in a world that is increasingly showing clearly that it belongs to the young. When you look at the mean age of the continent today, it's about 18.2 years. So when you have that, and yet you're holding them down to systems and contexts that are not reflecting the very important and significant issues that they want to be able to solve. So, for example, two critical things that Nigerians, the dominant young people in Nigeria, would want to see Nigeria be about is a productive country and a competitive